cool because it's possible that you can find a way where you're maybe 10-20% to actually pull it out.
All right, my friends. You see both players taking a look at the deck list here. You got Todd Anderson on your left, Ryan Phraner on your right. Deathblade versus Blue Red Delver. If we do have time, we will of course cut over to that Chas Hingle versus Frank Scarin match. But I would be a little bit surprised. We're looking at a combo deck versus the Charlotte's Bug deck. Maybe it takes longer than I think, but I know this one's probably going to take a little while.
Yeah,
Anderson versus Blue Red Delver from Phraner. So you see both players shuffling up. If you guys are just joining us, you missed out on a little bit of vintage conversation. You also missed out on Spyro the Dragon reference from myself.
Please tweet at me and tell me what you would name your dragon. This is something I'm genuinely interested. If you got a dragon, what would you name it? Let me know.
You can tweet that over at AJ Soccer.
Yes.
You can also tweet at SCG Live or hashtag that with the
I don't think they care as much.
SCGBALT. Look, man, our directors are going to read those tweets about dragon names, whether they like it or not. But we appreciate you guys joining us this evening. You can join in on the conversation for the last 2 rounds here on Twitter. As we're going to crown a legacy champion. We've already crowned a standard champion. Bard Narson.
Yeah.
Brad Nelson is his name, and winning is his game, as he took Junk Aristocrats, a brand new deck that you're going to see plenty of content on this week on the website. We'll see Brad do at least a Magic Online video about that deck. You can find
probably an article.
Yeah,
probably talk about it on Above the Curve.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of talk about that deck as it ran roughshod over the tournament, the standard tournament, this weekend. But it's legacy time. So Todd Anderson's your number 1 seed, which means he is going to be on the play. And you see both players laying out their 7 cards, and our semifinal will be underway shortly for you guys.
And as you said, Todd is on the play. Once again, absolutely huge in some of these matchups. It's actually not as relevant in the Legacy as Standard, I would say, which is, pretty bold to say. But a lot of these matchups, it is really important. The matchups where it's most important are A, combo decks, for obvious reasons, and B, the Stifle mana denial tempo decks, again for pretty obvious reasons that we've already discussed quite a bit. But saying like a Shardless Bug Mirror, the extra card versus playing first is actually like pretty marginal. Like it's so close that it might actually be correct to draw first. That's how close it is.
Get a little deep.
Yeah, a lot of those matchups where it doesn't matter. Whereas in Standard there are definitely matchups where it matters quite a bit. But as we see here, Ryan playing one of those Stifle Wasteland tempo aggro-y decks, and Todd sort of playing the more controlling, more powerful individual spell, higher impact library type of deck. Being on the play is certainly important, if not for Todd, just to not give Ryan the play.
Sure. All right, Todd, are you happy? Todd, he's reaching. I think I would say content feels like the word.
Yeah. Not super excited, but he'll play. As Riki Hayashi gives the nod, and we are underway.
Creeping Tar Pit's going to start the show, and here is the card that I was super worried about for Anderson's side, Grim Lavamancer. This one requires a Source of Plowshares almost immediately.
Yes.
And we'll see if Phraner's going to start there, if he's going to pass, and he's going to pass back. So, this feels like a stifle to me.
Very possible. As you said, Grim Lavamancer just tears up basically everything Todd can throw at him. Definitely demands a removal spell, and that's once again one less removal spell than Todd can use on the actual threats that kill him.
Now the question is this one worth a stifle? Is this one worth the Swords of Plowshares, or is it worth than anything? He also has a Force Will over there in his hand, does Phraner. As Phraner moves that stifle towards the front, and is considering, am I going to stifle this bad boy?
He's got a... Is that a bolt, or that might be the Grim Lavamancer? But he's got the plow, the force, and the stifle. A lot of options. Which of these is going to be more important going forward? Which is going to have less utility as the game progresses? And you're going to find that one to be, the least impactful card as the game progresses is going to be the one to spend here. If you had to guess as we fetch him, he's going to do something here. So we know it's not Force of Will, which obviously is pretty obvious. It's going to be Stifle or Lightning Bolt here. Which do you think?
Well, I think we're seeing a stifle.
Yeah.
He also has Swords of Plowshares in his hand. Okay, he's going to go back, so he's not entirely sure what he wants to do. Again, if you're going to take the time to make the decision on what you want to do here, make sure you're crafting a game plan. He's taking the time on what he wants to do. How do you want to navigate the next couple of turns? Because again, in Legacy, your decision trees are compact. A lot of the stuff that matters happen in the first couple of turns in the game.
Yeah.
And once you make those decisions, there's really no going back.
Right.
I think you could say that Standard is a little more forgiving because some of the power level of the cards, whereas Legacy, because the power level of the cards are so high and so equal, it's not very forgiving when you make that mistake.
Yeah, it's much more of a flat power curve, and so just as well as you can sort of get repaired, saved from a mistake like that, they can equally punish you just as hard. And we do see Stifle on the Stoneforge Mystic trigger. While that is good so they don't search up something, if Todd happened to randomly have a piece of equipment, he could still cheat it in. So it is still a bit scary.
And he can also just draw a piece of equipment for his draw step too.
Yep.
Wasteland going to take care of Creeping Tar Pit. And I'm going to see if... Alright, so we're going to see Grim Lavamancer, and this is problem number one.
That was a heck of a sequence. That was a heck of a turn too. Grim Lavamancer to square off against your Mystic, and the Wasteland against the very mana-intensive, color-intensive deck.
So Anderson's got a Wasteland of his own. He's going to take down the Volcanic Island. Stoneforge, feeling a little frisky, coming in for one. You're going to put Phraner down to 18. Let's see if Phraner has what kind of lands does he have? Does he have no lands? Oh, no.
Lavamancer fighting tells me he doesn't have a red land. And,
no!
Oh, no. Todd's really good at making his opponents just not have lands.
So here's Volcanic Island, and that's the Swords of Plowshares, so that's gone.
He had to have drawn that, right?
Yeah. So we're going to turn this one around, maybe. You see Phraner considering a Forcible here. Is this worth the fight?
I might have thought there. Grim Lavamancer is real nice against Todd's deck. I mean, you already have one target in play, and then it shuts down any future Death Rites or Dark Confidants. That might have been a point to fight for Ryan.
Phraner draws a Brainstorm. He looks like he's going to pass the turn back, and Anderson's going to cast a Brainstorm at the end of his turn. How do we feel about this end-step Brainstorm as opposed to just doing one on the main phase and getting a little bit more information?
Well, we're not on camera right now, but I'm giving 2 thumbs down physically. I do not like that. I generally like to take the turn back and Brainstorm main phase. This is sort of a like, ooh, but what if I hit a Batter Skull? Then you can cheat it into play, but it's like, yeah, even if you hit a Batter Skull, you could also just hit a Batter Skull and a land.
Sure.
It's not that small, like that much less of a percentage, and you get a card deeper. It's way more important. In fact, after you take the turn back and draw a card, you might realize, hey, I have something to do this turn now. I don't even have to cast my Brainstorm, and you can wait even longer. I'm all about waiting with the Brainstorm.
You see Todd misses with the Brainstorm, no land. His draws were Snapcaster Mage, double Dark Confidant. So he puts 2 cards back, draws Dark Confidant for the turn. He's just going to cast a Snapcaster Mage. He had nothing to do with it.
Ambush Viper.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah. It's the old 2-1 flash, pounding his hand a little bit. You see a smile on Harrison's face. And we're actually going to see a Force of Will on that? No. Okay.
No, just a discard for turn.
Discard. Okay, that's what I thought. So, in for 3 we go. Phraner still looking to draw land. What's he find this turn? Ponder. His last draw step was Delver's Secret, so he missed again.
I mean, he's got a couple 1-mana spells that he could play, so he's not completely out of it yet, but he is going to need to find a land, and fairly soon. I mean, Todd is Brainstorm locked for a couple turns, but once he starts getting fresh cards again, he's got a bunch of bobs that want to tear Ryan apart, and he does find that land. So let's see how he wants to sequence his 1-mana spells now that he has access to them.
And Anderson is out of the Brainstorm lock. His last draw was a Swords of Plowshares. That was the first new card. His Dark Confidants both went back. So now he has the Swords of Plowshares, which he can actually cast because he does have a Plains. You see Phraner's going to sacrifice a land. He's going to go get a Tundra. And let's see what he wants to do on this turn, as he does have 2 copies of Swords of Plowshares in his hand.
I feel like you have to just ponder here. I mean, it sucks to take 3 more damage going all the way down to 7, but you can't risk not hitting your next land drop, especially if Todd is like sandbagging a Wasteland. I think that the 2 extra damage that you take from not plowing this turn is worth that risk. But Ryan disagrees, and it looks like he's going to try and aim a Swords to Plowshares at that Snapcaster Mage.
Yep. So Swords is going that way. But Todd draws a very important card here. He draws an Underground Sea. So he finally draws not only a land, but a black producing land. So now he's probably going to slam that down. So there's that. I think we're going to lead off with Dark Confidant, and we do. He's going to pass the turn back.
Once again, another must kill, so now Ryan still doesn't really have time to ponder because he has to plow that right away, and if he doesn't peel a land straight off the top, then he's going to have to waste another turn, a full turn's worth of mana. Sounds funny to say since it's 1, but a full turn's worth of mana killing the Dark Confidant.
You see Phraner, taking a look. He's going to cast that Ponder now, so he's trying to hit a land. He's trying to get a little bit lucky. 1, 2, and
It.
And 3. Okay. Just kidding. All right.
Well, he did hit a land. It doesn't cast the bolt, but it does cast the swords to plowshares. So he does have a way to kill the Dark Confidant immediately, which is what he absolutely needed.
Absolutely.
That was a pretty ambitious ponder, because if Dark Confidant even draws one card, it snowballs so fast.
So now Swords is going to take care of the bop. So away that goes, and yeah, he needs to just try to keep Todd's threats off the board. And now, one thing that's happened over the course of this game, AJ, is that Phraner has, every time Todd has cast a spell, he's considered casting Force of Will and has not done it. Now that he's drawn a card that is pretty mopey in Daze, I think we're going to finally see him use a Force of Will, removing that Daze to do something.
Yeah.
As Inquisition of Kozilek's going to target Phraner here, you're going to see his hand of Daze, Force of Will, Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt, and Geist of Saint Trapped. He also kept his ponder on top. There are no more lands coming. It's a Delver of Secrets and a mystery card.
All right, presumably an instant and sorcery to flip said Delver. Makes sense that he wants to sequence this next turn as such, but Todd doesn't know that there's not a land on top. He can't risk getting Geist of Saint Drafted here. He's going to have to take that and hope that he can kill Ryan fairly quickly before he can sort of take over the game again by casting all these spells he's been unable to cast up until now.
All right, so here's Dark Confidant again. A return to the party.
And again, you kind of have to force a will here because you used the Swords to Plowshares on the Snapcaster Mage rather than Ponder a couple turns ago. You're going to have to use that force on something eventually, but you'd prefer to be able to wait as long as possible. Has to use it now on the Dark Confidant because he can't cast the Lightning Bolt in his hand, and he knows his top card is a Delver of Secrets, as you said. So that is going to come right into play with his hand being Brainstorm Bolt, and he knows the top card, although we don't.
All right, Anderson's going to untap. He's going to draw. Let's see what he finds. He's got Swords, he's got Vanilla Click, and he has another blue-black land. So
the land's semi-dead, but his other two cards pretty good.
Actually pretty good, yeah.
And here he can actually Vendilion Click now, since he knows that Ryan knows his top card with a Delver in play, which he knew that he hit on top. It's very likely you have to be able to deduce that the top card is something that flips Delver. So if you Vendilion, say, the Lightning Bolt away, or at least threaten to, you can actually, that works as well, if you want to just get rid of the threat straight up, and now you can actually Vendilion on draw step or main phase. Interesting.
Looks like it's going to be main phase.
Yep, it sure does, which...
He wants to take that Lightning Bolt? Yeah. So he wants to bin that.
I'm not sure I like that from Todd, because he was sort of playing around the top card being either a red land or an instant or sorcery. And I think you have to sort of figure out it's not a red land, so it's probably an instant or sorcery, so you can sequence that a little better. All you really do is you get to see one more card from Ryan by doing it on draw step. You do open up the option for Ryan to Brainstorm in response, but really all of his spells rather are going to be of similar impact at this point, and it's more a matter of developing the right sort of mana and having the spell count as high as possible.
So after that Ponder, Phraner keeps him on top again, and you did see a Scalding Tarn there, so he does have a red source. Anderson's going to draw a card. Not sure what it was. I don't think it was Jason's Mind Sculptor. I think it
probably would have
that one
slammed
down. And he's just going to fast the turn back. So now Phraner is coming back here a little bit. Again, Anderson's at 25. So Phraner, by coming back, I mean he's not dead.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be quite a while before he can actually turn any sort of corner and start killing Todd. And even if he sort of stabilizes to the point where he's not just completely dead, there's still basically a parity where neither player has all that much, and I have to say that favors Todd.
Yeah.
That is the type of game that Todd's deck is designed for. Every individual card is much more high impact, whereas Ryan has cards like Daze and Stifle that aren't that really good to draw at this stage of the game. So we see the Brainstorm there, putting cards on top, presumably to flip the Delver of Secrets. He's got the Scalding Tarns, so he has access to red mana for the Lightning Bolt, and Todd's drawn 2 or 3 lands in a row here, so
Delver's going to flip. There's your Stifle, as we do have a quick report for you guys. Frank's scaring up a game here over Chas Hinkle, my apologies, as the Insect Aberration is going to flip, and he's going to sacrifice this Scalding Tarn before he does draw the Stifle, because Stifle real stinky right now.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. A card that he can both use the flip over the insectile aberration that he doesn't want, so he can get full value out of his brainstorm by putting back the junky cards and shuffling them away.
Again, Delver's Secret says reveal, doesn't say draw.
Right.
It doesn't say when you draw for your turn. It says reveal, so you're able to use that information to your advantage. Turn it over, make it an insect operation, and then with that effect still on the stack, before you do move to your draw step, you can sacrifice a fetch land, clear it, draw a new card, which is a daze, which is almost as bad as a stifle.
Say, equally embarrassing.
But I mean, it's not a stifle, so you can actually use that as a little bit of something to bluff with. As here comes the insectile aberration. Lightning Bolt's going to take care of that before Todd can maybe draw Force of Will to counter it.
Yeah, or a Batter Skull or something really scary, and
It's
a brainstorm off the top.
Time.
And I gotta say, I like this one.
So hit 1, hit 2, and hit 3. Do you still like it?
Well, I mean, he got the fetch land, which is really important. If that was 3 lands without the shuffle effect, then this game might even be over.
Yep.
But at least he has a couple of useful lands. He has the Waste to take out the Volcanic Island next turn, because this turn he's got to use a fetch land to shuffle away those 2 crappy ones.
And he's going to play the Flooded Strand. And, I mean, I would sack it now, too, because I do not want to get stifled, because it's so important for me to be able to shuffle my deck. That's exactly what Anderson does. He's going to search out a Tundra, going to pass the turn back, Force of Will to draw there for Phraner, in for 3 comes the Delver. So, yeah, Force of Will isn't so bad. It's going to be able to counter Todd's next relevant spell.
And this is sort of a weird game because we're in this counter slivers mode where neither player really has anything except the Delver player has a threat and some disruption in the form of a Force of Will that's active with a Daze to pitch. But it's like turn 20.
Yeah.
This is what the game state, what the blue-white-red Delver player wants the game state to look like on like turn 4 with the other player not having many lands. But Todd flooding out and Ryan being short on mana to the point of discarding for multiple turns made this sort of weird game state where the Delver player has the game sort of where he wants it to be, except Todd has way more lands in play than he would have liked.
So Anderson's casting a Brainstorm here that he just drew off the top of his deck. Phraner, deep in the tank about, do I Force of Will this, removing Daze?
I have to say, I've forced in this spot pretty much every time in my career. You know that Todd's hand is pretty bad just from the way that the game is developed, and giving him 3 fresh ones is a lot scarier than just countering that one. I mean, it's still 1 card, right? If you use that counter on, or the Force of Will on, say, a Dark Confidant, you're 2 for 1 on the Dark Confidant. Now you're 2 for 1 on the Brainstorm. You're still getting a full card's worth of value on it. It's not like the Brainstorm being on the stack. It's no longer worth a card because it does draw 3 and then only put back 2. But you're also getting the virtual card advantage of not giving him the ability to sift through his deck and get to the really important cards.
So Anderson draws a Swamp for the turn, places Crocus past the turn back. Insectile Aberration in for 3 more. Phraner's hand right now of Wasteland, Force of Will. So again, Anderson, I mean, any spell that he draws that's of any relevance, he's going to cast. And he's going to take a draw step here. It's a Stoneforge Mystic. That'll do just fine.
Yeah, definitely not bad.
He's going to cast this off that Plains and Tropical Island. Phraner's going to look at his hand and says, sigh, that resolve. Time to go get old Batterskull. And now the big question here for Anderson is, are you going to cast it this turn, or are you going to try to wait for Stoneforge Mystic to be able to slide it through for you? Because one thing is that Daze does exist, and that's probably what Todd's a little hesitant for. He's also thinking about the other blue cards that are in the format, a card like Spell Pierce, which if you take a look at Phraner's deck list, which Todd had access to at the beginning of the match, but doesn't have right now, there are 3 Spell Pierces in his deck.
Pierce and Dazes.
Yeah. So, he can easily play around Daze because he can just play a land, but will he play around Spell Pierce? Because he could just slam down Swamp and just say, go for it, do you have it? But he's not going to.
I like it.
So, Insectile Aberration's going to untap. Lightning Bolt, the draw here.
Red is pretty brutal, because that actually would have been quite good, force the Batterskull to be cast, and then you can sort of create a game of it, of like, chase down the Germ on every other turn and try and get in through the air and Delver. Definitely not favored in that game state, but you can create a game of it, but without being able to kill the Stoneforge Mystic, it's impossible to run down the Batterskull token every turn.
So Todd Anderson does win game number 1 here against Ryan Phraner. Death played up a game versus Blue Eye Red Delver. We're going to cut back to the booth because it is 6 months of trivia time. Again, if you guys never played with us, shame on you, but we do apologize. Pretty simple. Going to ask you guys a question. Have you tweet your answer with the hashtag of SCG Premium, and We'll give you the answer at the conclusion of the round. We will again select one winner of people who do get it correct. Again, it is not about being quick. It's about being accurate. I don't think those rhyme, but I wanted them to, so I made it work. Here's your question. Within both Ryan Phraner and Todd Anderson's deck list, they both have a One of Legend in their deck. And if you're able to name said One of Legend in their deck that they both share in their main deck, they each have one copy. Tweet your answer, hashtag SCG Premium. And again, it is about accuracy, not speed, so you don't have to race. You can cheat if you want to.
That was the hard question?
That was the harder question.
Okay.
We're getting to the hardest question soon. Okay? All right, buddy?
Not
All right.
impressed.
Tweet your answer, hashtag SCG Premium.
You know it's a way better question than that?
No.
What would you name your dragon if you
Yeah,
had one?
here we go. Yeah, because there's a... Yeah, tweet your answer there, because there's a correct answer. And if it's not Spiral, you don't win anything. There. So we're going to cut back to the match. Take a look at the sideboards here. Phraner down a game. He's got 2 Soft Elementals, 1 Pyroblast, 2 Red Elemental Blast, a Vendilion Click, 1 Spell Pierce, 1 Force of Will, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 1 Rest in Peace, 2 Engineering Explosives, 1 Surgical Extraction, and a Wear and Tear, a new one from Dragon's Maze. What to bring in here is a pretty tough question. You know, normally you see Sulfur Elemental come in a matchup like this to break those Lingering Souls, but Todd doesn't have any of those. Pyroblast seems mediocre at best, right? I don't think it's great in this matchup.
No, I mean, the Snapcasters do add a little extra value. You know, obviously the main target is Jace, but being able to hit a Snapcaster on a key plows to Swordshairs. Wow, it is late here in Baltimore. Swords to Plowshares. You know, hitting a Snapcaster Mage on a key spell like that can actually be pretty valuable as well. So Blast is actually not too bad here.
An additional copy of Vendilion Click the sideboard in. I think we're going to see that one come in. Additional Spell Pierce. I don't really love that because actually a lot of Todd's stuff that actually matters are creatures, like Dark Confidant and all that stuff. So I actually don't think that's going to come in. 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Rest in Peace, or excuse me, 1 Rest in Peace, 2 Engineering Explosives. The rest of that stuff I don't really love.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, I'm inclined to agree. From Todd's side, I mean, Geist of St. Traft, the obvious. And I mean, even to, you know, Legend Rule, Ryan's, but also just as a pretty awesome threat. And then he's got Supreme Verdict's probably not coming in, Meddling Mage is probably not coming in. Surgical Extraction is actually a pretty interesting one because it can counter a Snapcaster Mage, you know, trigger for value, and you can follow up a discard spell with it on a key card or a card that they have 2 of. So there's actually that application there. Theoretically, Surgical Extraction could be a nice one. Vindicate, definitely not bad, just additional removal, kills Tarmogoyf dead, and, you know, Deathrite and Dark Confidant and all those other important creatures that you need to get killed. And then Path to Exile, just another spot removal spell for all those key creatures. Thoughtseizes and the 4th Force of Will. It's always difficult trying to strike that right balance of how many discard spells you want, because they are good early and they are good in certain situations late where, like, you want to force through a Jace, or you have a Jace and can use it to bounce a creature and then Thoughtseizes it away or something like that. You know, you can extend the purpose of the discard spells in certain types of games, but in others, like say in that game, a discard spell would have been pretty bad when both players are in top deck mode. You need to find an answer to a Delver and you draw a Thoughtseize. That's gonna be pretty embarrassing. Yeah, yeah, gonna be a little sick to your stomach if that happens to you. So definitely don't want like a ton of discard spells, but they are good, so that's going to be a bit difficult. And then Force of Will, a card that I generally board out in these types of matchups, but there's no Hymn to Torox, which is one of the big ones, and you can still fight over Jaces and whatnot. And I actually think one of the more important sub-games, you actually talked about this in our pre-match breakdown, is Geist of St. Traft sub-game. And Force of Will is actually might be important for that. Same with the discard spells, actually. Might be important to fight over those Geists. And we do see multiple discard spells in Todd's hands, so he does think those are at least reasonable to have in. And we see Geist of St. Traft from Ryan.
Yeah, Thoughtseize here from Anderson. He's going to push himself down to 18. You see a Tundra, Flooded Strand, Vendilion Click, Geist of St. Traft, Lightning Bolt, and Misty Rainforest. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to want to take that Geist of St. Traft, but as you said, Todd has multiple discard spells in his hand, so maybe he takes a Lightning Bolt, maybe he gets like a Stoneforge Mystic established, and then passes the turn back, but he is going to take Geist of St. Traft because that is public enemy number 1.
Yeah, way too scary. And Ryan actually drew another key card that we've mentioned a couple times in Gribble Lavamancer. He can just slam that right now, and it turns off a lot of Todd's cards. Does he want to do that? And it looks like he might. I mean, oh, and there's a Power Blast. Yeah, I mean, having the Grimlavamancer in play, right, it turns off a lot of the power of Stoneforge Mystic. It turns off Deathrite pretty much completely, kills Dark Confidants immediately before it draws a card. Vendilion still gets its trigger, but dies immediately. The only thing it really doesn't kill is Geist proper.
Yes.
Right? Like, that Geist itself is the only thing that Grimlavamancer doesn't at least threaten to just take down immediately. And we see Todd immediately fetching a white, and it's going to be a basic, and he's going to look to Swords of the Plowshare as that Grimlavamancer before, it shuts down his entire game plan single-handedly, as it is wont to do. And sure enough, there it goes.
That's time to go. Time to go, mister. And how about a discard spell on top of that? Here is your Thoughtseize number 2. He discards Vendilion Click almost immediately. Makes you wonder if Todd just said, yeah, get Vendilion Click out of here, which means Phraner has Lightning Bolt and a
couple lands,
yeah,
I
a
think.
couple of lands. So if Phraner is able to peel off maybe a Geist Saint Trap, game changes wildly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no Liliana of the Veil in Todd Anderson's deck. His only real answers to Geist are either his own Geists or blocking it, which is, pretty hard to do a lot of the time.
All right, so Anderson looks happy enough. Phraner going to take a draw. What's it going to be? Wasteland.
Could be worse, but Todd does have a backup Black Source as well as multiple land drops to make over the course of the next couple turns, so not as high impact as he was maybe hoping. And we see Death right there. Pretty big target on its head.
I mean, that's going to draw a Lightning Bolt. And Todd plays that knowing it's going to die, and that's fine. You want to make that exchange, get it over with, keep moving.
Yep.
Brainstorm the draw here for Phraner.
You mean Ancestral Storm?
Yes. Wasteland, Spell Pierce, and Swords of Plowshare. So pretty poor Brainstorm. He does have a fetch land, so he does get to actually, get rid of some of this garbage here.
I imagine
not the best.
I imagine it's a Pierce and a non-waste land, and then you just waste. Oh, it looks like he's keeping the Pierce. I mean, it does have theoretical utility against certain spells. The big one is Jace, which Todd is so far from that I don't think that's really a consideration here. It's more likely that he's using that Wasteland, and that Pierce is just to hit like a Ponder or a Brainstorm and really try and bury Todd. Just make it so that his mana base, his super stretched out mana base, punishes him.
Anderson that turn, as you're going to see the sacrifice here from Phraner, going to search for a Tundra with that Flooded Strand. He drew a Supreme Verdict for the turn, and I was wondering if he was actually going to bring that card in or not. And he is that scared of Geist the Saint Trap that he actually has to bring it in. It is a 4-mana card against a deck that does have Wasteland and Stifles, but again, if that's the card that you're scared of, you have to bring it in. As you see, Phraner draws a Volcanic Island for the turn, going to pass back with Swords and Spell Pierce in his hand. Anderson draws a basic Swamp, so Wasteland proof right now, not so bad, as Phraner draws a Daze. He's going to pass the turn back. So a little draw go action, which not too surprised to see this happen, as Anderson's going to draw a Caracas. Let's see if he's going to make a move here. He is going to cast a Snapcaster Mage with a black available to target some discard Mr. Phraner's way.
I like holding the Caracas, keeping it free from Wasteland so that you can go Caracas Supreme Verdict if you need to at a later point. You might as well just play your Snapcaster, get it out there, and be like, all right, answer this. What do you got? Let's see what's going on over there.
That turn's so awkward. You're going to see a Spell Pierce because let's say Todd didn't play his Caracas yet, so if
did.
Yeah, I mean, he plays Caracas afterward.
Right.
Engineer Explosives is the draw here for Phraner, but Todd plays a Snapcaster Mage with just a Swamp open, so if Phraner just hardcasts Daze, then Todd either has to pay the 1 and doesn't get to flash anything back, or just let it get countered. He's going to pay the 1, but then he can't flash back a discard spell.
Yeah, I think that you either play your Caracas before Snapcaster or don't play the Caracas.
Yeah. If you're Phraner, I think you just cast a Daze there because Daze isn't getting any better.
Yeah.
Especially now when you look at Anderson's mana base of Caracas, Plains, Island, Swamp. Let's say that Todd had a Jace in his hand. He's like, I just need a blue source. And it's like, all right, slams down the blue source. It's like, and you can't Daze the Jace now. So, Daze gets worse the game goes. And it gets worse now that Anderson knows that Phraner has it, because now he just has to play around it, which isn't terribly difficult to do.
Yeah, you just wait another turn, try and make another land drop. Not that hard.
Well, that's in there.
See, that is fairly threatening, as Todd does have the supreme verdict. He's not even going to mess around. He's just going to cast it right away.
In for 2. Verdict this away. And you see Phraner already knows it. So
Yep.
Supreme Verdict that away. We're going to see him wasteland that white source. So Phraner's just been set back to the Stone Age here, as he's going to draw a card for the turn. He can't even cast a Sword to Plowshares. He's going to pass back. Anderson takes a draw here. Blue card is Vendilion Click that he can't cast, but when he does find another blue, he actually does have Caracas at the ready, and Caracas is going to be at the ready now, because here is Geistesane Trap. And does he have Forcible? He does.
That is huge.
The Forcible removing Daze is going to take care of that Geistesane Trap. Anderson's going to put that in his graveyard. We're going to go back to Phraner. Draws a Spell Pierce.
Another awkward low impact card, super narrow. I mean, we're in this top deck mode, but Todd's deck is so much higher impact that he's so favored in these spots. And here we see another really high impact card in the form of Stoneforge Mystic.
So it's Search for Batterskull time. Same thing that we saw during Game 1. At least I like to believe it's Batterskull time, not Umezawa's Jitte time, but I've been wrong before. Will be wrong again.
Todd actually went past his Batterskull. He's just like, is it in my graveyard? Oh, no, there it is. Okay,
right.
I've done that so many times. I've actually, like, boarded out a Tendrils or whatever in my combo deck and thought that I still had it. You get that sort of sinking feeling. You're like, oh no, what did I do?
Well, what have I done?
Yeah, but
there's a Ponder here from Phraner. Hit 1, 2, and 3, looking for a white land so he can Swords to Plowshares. That's Stoneforge Mystic. You see him looking at a hand of 2 Spell Pierce and Swords to Plowshares, and a bit of a frown creeping on his face now as he's looking at the Ponders, 3 cards, looking at 3 cards in his hand, saying, I need to get that thing off the table because Batterskull is real tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to find, a white land or a bolt. And it is bolt, so he can bolt the Stoneforge Mystic this turn, but he actually can't cast Pierce.
Yeah, so he needs Anderson to miss his land drop this turn. And the funny thing is, if Anderson draws land, does he slam it down, or is he scared of Daze?
I mean, Todd saw his hand, and he saw the 1 Daze, and it got pitched to a force. I think the coast is fairly clear here. You just slam, and Todd agrees, and it works.
So one thing, as you see Force of Will off the top, that's not a white source. That's trouble. You see the frown coming across, knowing that Phraner knows I have to take it on the chin now. I don't have much of a choice.
Yep. And Todd in front. And Party Pikachu from the stands jumps in front.
So Nancy Anderson's going to take take that, Pikachu. Thank you very much.
Oh, that is awesome.
Todd going to sacrifice Flooded Strand in Phraner's draw step, so we're going to see a Vendilion Click come to the party here.
With the Caracas backup. Brutal, brutal stuff. Ryan's got a Force of Will this. Luckily, he's got these useless Spell Pierces to pitch to it.
Yeah, Spell Pierce is such an interesting card because its utility, sometimes it's great, other times it's quite poor. It's so good against combo and when you're pressing your advantage and destroying their lands, but when the Deathblade deck is kind of set up here and you're playing this kind of draw-go game, Spell Pierce just gets bad so fast.
Yeah, when you're in top deck mode, it is one of the worst cards that you can top deck, and all these Deathblade decks and these Bug decks and these Jund decks, there's so many decks where Spell Pierce theoretically is good, but all those decks are just trying to get you to the point where you're both in top deck mode and have the higher impact library.
So now you see Phraner draws a red Elemental Blast for his turn. Anderson's going to, after the Light Tools are exchanged here, cast a Dark Confidant.
That's pretty risky. I mean, he's only at 22.
Yeah.
That could kill him.
If only he has a way to gain life. As Phraner draws a
There's the hand.
Going to extend the hand. So Todd Anderson is moving on to the finals. Defeats Ryan Phraner 2-0. Deathblade. Brian Braun to win. You're a pretty smart guy. Not bad looking either. Nice deck you've made, my friend. Todd Anderson moving along as we are probably going to be able to cut into the Scarin versus Hinkle match. Again, we do know that Frank Scarin is up a game.
Yeah.